San Juan City, this is the PVL, the heart of volleyball.
We went to Vigan, then to Batangas City. Now, we're back for a stopover here in San Juan City for Day 5 of the Premier Volleyball League on tour for another doubleheader. Kiana D and the PLDT High Speed Hitters aiming to get their first win here in the tour against Rachel Dakis and the Farm Fresh Foxies for our first game in this afternoon's doubleheader. After this matchup that we will be witnessing, the debut of PLDT and Farm Fresh, we will be watching the Cream Line Cool Smashers against the Signal HD Spikers, who are both looking to get a hold at the top spot in Pool B of this on-tour preseason tournament. Thank you for joining us live on Pilipinas Live or on One Sports and One Sports Plus. My name is Miguel de Guzman, together with my partner Noreen Go and our courtside reporter Sam Corrales. Noreen, Sam, good afternoon.
Hi, excited to be here. Yeah.
That's right. So now, we are in Day 5 of our PVL on tour, Noreen. Now, it's the debut of both of these teams, but, we have to look at the standings because we know that a lot is in store for this tournament.
Yeah, we have to mention this conference. The 12 teams are split into 2 pools, and you can see Pool A. You did mention Farm Fresh and PLDT will make their debut today. But in this conference, only 2 teams after this round will make an automatic entry to the quarterfinals. So it's very important to pile up the wins and get the top 2 spots so that you can rest in the quarterfinals.
Speaking of piling up the wins, over onto Pool B of our team standings, we will be seeing 2 contenders, both undefeated so far.
That's going to be a very interesting game, but we also have to mention Cherry Tigo and Zeus will make their debut also soon. Not today, but soon. So it's interesting to watch all these games.
That's right. In a while, we will be having our first look at the PLDT High Speed Hitters. That's Kim Fajardo on your screens, going head-to-head against Louis Romero and the Farm Fresh Foxies. But let's talk about player movement first. PLDT, a lot of changes in the roster. Noreen, take us through the changes.
Yeah, I feel really PLDT will feel it a bit because they lost players that, would start matches. Erica Santos, Fiola Ceballos. But they have additions, Malaluan and Perolino. But I feel really it's the core. The veterans, Mika Reyes, Catarado, Majoy Barote will be looked upon, to lead this team. And, hopefully they have a good showing given the changes for this roster.
Now that we've talked about the changes in the roster, I think there's one person Sam was able to talk to prior to the game.
Yes.
Sam?
Well, still a familiar face steering the ship for the PLDT High Speed Hitters. Of course, it is no other than Coach Ral Ricafort. Now, he told me earlier that he's not going to focus on all of the changes in the team, kung sino yung mga wala. Instead, he's going to focus on who is left in the squad, especially his veterans. Now, I asked him who he is expecting to shine in this first game of the tournament, and he said it is the ates, it is the veterans, because sabi niya, they have all been working hard in training, and especially the middles, they are very stacked. Maraming middles sa PLDT. But for today specifically, he said he's expecting Mika Reyes to shine in today's game. And she actually just celebrated her birthday a few days ago. So let's see if she can have a good game today and start their connection strong with the rest of the middles. And speaking of the rest, I want to bring in our interview with KKD. Let's watch this.
Actually, I was when I heard it, super excited because we get to travel to the different cities in the Philippines, and yeah, I think it's the first time sa PVL that they're gonna do that. So pretty excited to see the fans there, and also syempre yung different places that we're gonna go to. Actually, we're just gonna treat it the same, but traveling kasi it's gonna be more tiring. You have the factor of siguro if we take the bus or the plane and we have like yung mga meet and greet, it's gonna be a bit tiring compared to when we're here in Manila. But we're just gonna treat every game the same like we're in Manila. Hi PLDT fans, PVL fans, please continue supporting us in our next games, and I hope to see you in the arena or in Ilagan or Cebu, and we're very excited to see you guys.
Kiana D of the PLDT High Speed Hitters with her interview. Now, you know, we talked about Mika Reyes, we talked about Kiana D, but one person that we can't miss out to discuss in this pregame panel is their defensive anchor, Kat Arado.
We always have to mention Kat Arado when you're talking about PLDT because she has proven to be one of the best liberos in this generation. You have to say, look at her numbers. She was just third, but if you know, Miguel, that if you have a Kat Arado in your lineup, you're going to be all right. It doesn't matter what changes you have, you're going to be in a good place.
That's right. And she's one of the best in terms of playing the libero position, as you have mentioned, Noreen. Now, over onto the other side of the net, it will be interesting to see the Farm Fresh Foxies, since maybe they will be running a new system under their new head coach.
Yeah, when we talk about player movements, what about coaching staff movements? I mean, I think that's the biggest change, no? They got a new coach in Alessandro Lodi. They got Des Clemente. They got Alohi Robbins Hardy. They did lose Tagsip and Delerio. So the key holdovers will be key. We're talking about Trisha Tubo, Louis Romero, Eliza Bertolano. Very young, so it's actually very exciting to watch a young team with a new coach and, you know, move forward after this conference.
Speaking of new coach, one person who was able to get a first-hand interview with Coach Lodi is none other than Sam Corrales. Sam, what were you able to get with your conversation with him?
Well, nakausap ko siya in the dugout before stepping out in today's match. And Coach Alessandro Lodi told me that, you know, he has no expectations for today's game. I checked in on their preparations and he said they only had about 2 months to prepare for today. So really, they focused on individual skills. Wala pa daw masyadong gameplay, no 6x6 yet. But what's important is the mindset that he has for the Farm Fresh Foxies. He said he's looking at this long term. They want to focus on the process and the things they can control. Sabi nga niya sa akin kanina, no expectations. And he just wants to use this opportunity for the players to grow. And speaking of the players, let's check in with Caitlin Viray of the Farm Fresh Foxies.
Well, super excited and looking forward na makita yung mga fans sa iba't ibang provinces and kami naman yung makapunta sa kanila. Well, syempre, kailangan namin i-take into consideration yung biyahe, syempre yung pagod sa biyahe, yung iba yung venue, and syempre medyo wala ka sa comfort zone mo kasi magsistay kami sa ibang place, and siguro talagang yung pagod din kailangan namin i-manage kasi back-to-back games. Hi everyone, to all the PVL fans, please come and support us. Watch us live kung saan man kami mapadpad, and hope to see you there.
It will be very exciting to see this new Farm Fresh Foxies, whether it's here in San Juan City, Metro Manila, or in our next games here in the PVL On Tour preseason tournament. Now, you know, Noreen, we talked about having a new coach, having a new system, but one player who will carry the offensive load, as expected, is none other than Trisha Tubu.
Yeah, ever since she joined the PVL, she has established herself as being one of the best opposite hitters. No? She already won 2 Best Individual Awards. So Trisha Tubu, you can see her numbers. She's 4th in points and 3rd in spiking last conference. However, I'm sure this conference, she wants to win. You know, she wants her team standing to improve. So it's good to her that she's going to lead the squad, and then the new changes, and we'll see what happens.
That's right, exciting indeed. Now, Sam?
Yes, Miguel, we actually have a Filipinos Live poll question of the day because the PVL is back. The fans are excited to see the players in action, and that is why we are asking which team will establish their identity in their debut today. Is it gonna be the PLDT High Speed Hitters, or will it be the Farm Fresh Foxies? Don't forget to use the hashtag PVL On Tour and hashtag PVL 2025. Looks like we're all set for today's game, and we cannot wait to see these 2 squads make their first game here on the PVL On Tour.
That's right. So now, we are all excited to see which team will come out with their first win. Will it be the PLDT High Speed Hitters or the Farm Fresh Foxies? You're watching the Premier Volleyball League, the heart of volleyball.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Playtime Philoil Center and the 2025 PVL On Tour preseason event of the Premier Volleyball League, the heart of volleyball. This is our 5th day of competition and 2 matches await you today in the preliminary round. For the first match, match number 9, let us welcome our PLDT High Speed Hitters and their challengers, our Farm Fresh Foxies. Presenting our national officials for this match. First referee, Mr. Fernando Velarde. Second referee, Mr. Daniel Palada. Presenting our starting lineup from our PLDT High Speed Hitters. Let's begin with jersey number 3, Mika Irene Reyes. At number 10, Mary Joy Baron. Wearing jersey number 11, Kim Kiana D. At number 14, Keisha Dazil Bedonia. Number 16, Angelica Alcantara. And number 19, Jovelyn Grace Prado. Starting libero is their team captain, number 8, Kathleen Faith Arado. Head coach, Mr. Ralph Benson Ricafort. Calling on our Farm Fresh Foxies. Let's begin with their team captain. She wears jersey number 7, Louie Romero. At number 4, Caitlin Viray. Wearing jersey number 8, Jolina De La Cruz. At number 9, Riza Andrea Cruz. Number 12, Trisha Tubu. And number 18, Lorene Toring. Number 4, libero is number 14, Angelique Dionela. Head coach, Mr. Alessandro Lodi.
Welcome back to the PVL On Tour preseason tournament for the PLDT High Speed Hitters. They will start off with Reyes, Baron, D, Alcantara, Prado, Bedonia, and Arado as their starting libero. Meanwhile, for the Farm Fresh Foxies, it will be Doring, Cruz, Veray, Romero, Tubu, De La Cruz, and Jack Dionela to start with the libero duties. Good afternoon, everyone. Miguel de Guzman together with my partner Noreen Go. Later on, we will be joined by Sam Corrales. First serve is about to commence. It's the debut of both of these teams here in San Juan City, as we have Prado serving to open things up in today's match.
Well, it has been mentioned in the previous games and actually in the pregame, the format of this tournament. Let's just reiterate it short and sweet. 12 teams divided into 2 pools, Pool A and Pool B. The top 2 will already make it to the quarterfinals. The bottom 4 will go, a crossover against the 3rd and the 6th of the opposing bracket, the 4th and the 5th. So if you're one of these teams, you want to make it to the top 2.
That's right. And let's not forget, Noreen, what's in store here, if you make the top 4 of the tournament, is an outright invitation to the Invitational Conference following the On Tour. As we see PLDT already with 2 straight points here in the match. Jovelyn Prado still at the service line for PLDT.
Well, both lineups actually pretty intact, you know, even though we did mention some key losses for both these squads. You can see the starting units pretty intact.
Yeah, pretty nice to see Kiana D also back in action for PLDT as Caitlin Viray will send this over to the other side, but Arado was there. Bedonia. And that is good
There's a ball touch called on the
for PLDT.
Yeah, they call it a block touch there. PLDT strong start, racing through to a 3-point advantage early on.
It's also worth mentioning that Louis Romero is starting, and we will see how she plays together with one of their newest additions in Alohi Robinsardi.
Well, I feel they have the same position, so I think it's more of the team, the team chemistry that we're going to see.
The breadth of experience. Strong start here from PLDT. 4-0 now is the score. They're trying to slowly pull away from the Farm Fresh Foxies.
Yeah, the Foxies, they need to settle down. I think jitters are setting in for this pretty young squad, so they just need to get their first point.
Viray cross court, sails outside. 5-0 now. Strong start by PLDT. Sam Corrales has a report for us.
Well, speaking of strong start, Miguel and Noreen, Mika Reyes just celebrated her birthday a few days ago. And as today's starter, she told me that she is feeling very refreshed coming into this new conference. Now, I asked her about her goals, and that is very simple. At this age, she just wants to continue playing, especially dahil may mga bagong learnings pa daw every single day. Now, she spent about 2 weeks off from volleyball, then immediately went back to work on conditioning dahil mahirap daw talagang mawala ng matagal. And as one of the vets of this squad, she said they are working on their chemistry. But first, let's check in on this timeout.
Unless they prove that, zone 2 goes in a lot for the jump. Okay, guys, one at a time. We're passing well. We insist.
Coach Lodi calling his first time out here in the Premier Volleyball League. It's also his debut, not just the Farm Fresh Foxies here in the on-tour preseason tournament. Now, Noreen, you were talking about continuous growth that Mika Reyes mentioned. Do you think that parte dito is yung challenge din siya na ang ganda ng pinapakita ng mga rookies so far here in the tournament?
Yeah, for sure. You always acknowledge the fact that there are younger players coming in, graduating, coming in from other countries. But I think the most important thing for veterans like Mika Reyes is how to continue playing at a high level, the longevity of their career. So it's really important to keep in shape.
That's right, as you see here. Farm Fresh finally breaking that PLDT scoring run. It's now 6-1. Team captain Louis Romero serving for Farm Fresh.
Yeah, she has a full front row. Oh, ha.
Ball goes out.
And quickly brings back the ball to the side of the high speed hitters. Mika Reyes at the service line now for PLDT.
Yeah, for the fans of PLDT, it's really interesting to see KKD, Majoy Baron, Mika Reyes in the same starting unit. I mean, flashback to years ago.
In terms of familiarity, I guess, they won't need that much time to get to know each other here on the court. But let's see how they produce or perform here as there's a service ace given up by PLDT.
Yeah, that's a great serve because Jovi Prado is one of the better defenders. And a shank pass from Jovi Prado. I mean, goes to show that's a great serve by Viray.
Viray at the service line with the help of the net. Baron with the up. Prado from the back row. Janela to De La Cruz. That is good for Farm Fresh.
Gets a ball touch.
Well, you appreciate that timeout because obviously what Coach Lodi said, they took to heart. You can feel the intensity really increased a notch here.
That's right. 6-1. Score is now 7-4. It doesn't seem too far now for Farm Fresh, Noreen.
Everything is reachable. Just a 3-point lead, like you said.
Back set. Good dig by Romero. Janela goes to Tubu and tries to push that one, but too much sauce in that attack.
Yeah, not the contact that Tubu wanted.
That sends us now to our first technical timeout. PLDT with an 8-4 lead.
Na-miss niyo ba yung subscribe na to our YouTube channel. Subscribe na!
Welcome back to the PVL. First technical timeout just concluded. Kiana D is up to serve for PLDT. Now earlier we mentioned Luis Romero having Alohi on the bench, but let's not forget PLDT has CAF
Also, yeah.
to guide
Pushes it over.
the very young setter Nange Alcantara for the high-speed hitters.
Well, as you're saying that, Shishatubu makes up for her previous hitting error with a smart drop at the center or the heart of PLDT's defense. So, you know, it was a strong start for PLDT, but here come the Farm Fresh Foxies.
Turing now with the serve. Prado. Alcantara sets it up to Bedonia, and that is good
Into the block.
for PLDT.
Yeah, that's just smart, you know, using her power and waiting for the blockers to be on their way down. You can see there. So the ball went down with Shishatubu.
3 points now for Keisha Bedonia early on in this match. It's a good serve. Romero tries to make something out of this. De La Cruz. Good
dig.
defense, yes. Prado checked and stuff at the net.
Prado denied.
Cruz and Tubu teaming up for that. Their first tough block for this tournament.
We were talking about Tubu being one of the main offensive gunners of Farm Fresh, showing us that she can also block at the net.
Yeah.
Majoy, with a short run. Tubu was there. Louis goes to Jelena, who pushes it to the other side.
Whoop.
Little collision there for Farm Fresh as Alcantara goes to Majoy and finds a hole in the defense of Farm Fresh.
That's just smart hitting because nobody home for Farm Fresh there. That's going to be, you know, the easiest point probably Majoy Baron's going to get. Look at that.
Majoy Boron serving now for PLDT. Good reception by Viray. Romero goes to De La Cruz. Challenging the defense. Alcantara to Mika. Trying to keep the middles active for PLDT. A lot of block touches, but unfortunately, miscommunication there for Farm Fresh.
11-6.
Yeah, they got to correct that because they were caught watching that reel. That previous play, it's like it was a movie. They forgot to react.
Now the Foxies are forced to call another timeout. Let's listen in to their huddle.
When their middles attack so low and fast, even if they score, we like that, okay? So we don't care at all. Let's put more blockers, even on pipes, even if it's little, don't run away, okay? Now, Baroni serving, we can shift to our left. It's a slow serve, so we use it, okay? And if she misfires it, it can go there, but slow. We might even use our hands, okay? So we can shift left and take advantage of this direction. Continue hitting. Nice shot. We can go even harder, and sometimes we can change the speed also. Now they're staying more in the center. We can also change the speed and go here instead of. It's not like there is only.
There you have it on your screens, Alohi, the newest edition of Farm Fresh. Now, Noreen, listening to the timeout of Coach Lodi, he's very specific in terms of the adjustments that he wants his team to make.
I love listening to that huddle because you actually are very curious in the way he coaches. It goes to show that it's very technical. He goes into specifics. And I think the best takeaway from that huddle is he wants a challenge. It doesn't matter who, from the pipe or the quicks, he wants the blockers to be there.
De La Cruz serving for the Foxies.
Just like that, Farm Fresh getting the point. Jelena now serving. Good serve. Angge back set to KKD, straight to the net. Another point for Farm Fresh.
That's what you want to see if you're Coach Lodi. Although it did go into the net, you saw Viray right there. He wants a challenge, and they're listening.
Service.
One thing also that we want to bring our attention to is the service of Farm Fresh. Now, prior to the game, Noreen, we saw them serving really hard during the warm-up. So, but then unfortunately there was an error on the side of Jolino De La Cruz. So let's see, because I think during my conversation with Coach Lodi, he wanted to put emphasis on their serve and receive game. Yes.
Yeah, because in this level of competition, we are the PVL. You don't want easy serves. It has to be tough serves.
Yeah. That's right. As Romero now goes to the back, reads a Cruz's check at the net.
Turned back by Prado.
One of the more underrated blockers, Jovi Prado. We know, known for offense, floor defense, but solid solo block.
Alcantara serving. Good reception by Bertolano. Tubu from the pipe. Check and stuffed by Reyes.
Good read. That is one of Mika Reyes' strength. Blocking, and throughout the year she's proven that. That's a one-on-one. Look at that. Great read.
6-point lead now for PLDT.
Good serve.
Romero goes to Viray. Mika Reyes again from the middle.
Back quick, Reyes.
Well, Coach Rald has to be happy. We heard Sam's report earlier that they're going to go to the middle.
Now let's take a look at the replay of the spike of the set. Brought to you by Dunkin. Pasalubong ng Bayan. Alcantara doing a good job in activating the middles. Now let's see how the wingers respond now for PLDT as KKD goes for a cross-court shot. Viray rolls it over. And there will be a net touch violation called on PLDT.
Called on the High Speed Hitters.
I think they're going to challenge that. KKD.
Well, they're clarifying now. Mika Reyes asking. But there will be a challenge like what you mentioned, Noreen, on this call.
For a foot fault. Challenge is
Foot fault.
PLDT.
The referee called a foot fault. Okay.
And now for those watching us for the first time, Noreen, yung foot fault challenge, we have to check if the entire foot goes over the center line of the court. Now, if half or even a part of the heel stays on the side of PLDT.
Yeah, it's not a foot fault. It's good you're elaborating on that, because I've seen a lot, especially in the men's game, where in half the body, or no, even till the knee, cross the opponent's court, but the feet did not. So there's no foot fault. Technically, that's still good. That's still playable.
And at this point, even if PLDT is almost doubling up on the score against Farm Fresh. Oh, let's take a look at the center line fault here.
Okay. Yeah, that's clear. The entire foot. That's why some coaches always say, don't step back. Your movement should always, more often than not be forward. So you don't, cross like that.
Serving for Farm Fresh.
Riza Cruz serving for Farm Fresh. Prado down the line. Tubu was there. Romero unable to connect with Toring in that sequence. Ball is still alive. Caitlin Viray checked at the net. Another try. Cross court, but Arado read that one perfectly. Arado with the push.
Oh, good reach.
That goes straight to the hands of Mika Reyes. This will be a free ball for PLDT.
Long rally alert. Still alive.
Louis to Toring.
Oh!
Good up by Arado. 1-2 play, and finally Romero ends the rally in favor of Farm Fresh.
That's just smart by Louis Romero. It was the longest rally thus far, and she just read it. She saw that PLDT was a bit flat. But yeah, give credit to Kat Arado for keeping that in play. Look at that. Right? Nobody home for PLDT.
Cruz now serving straight outside again.
+1 for
No,
PLDT.
that error brings us to our second technical timeout. PLDT leads 16-10.
Farm Fresh.
Bitin na kayo sa games? Watch all the replays on PVL YouTube channel. Subscribe!
Plus and the Pilipinas Live app.
And
Bea
the
De Leon
second
on your
technical
screens.
timeout.
Later
Double
this afternoon, we will be seeing the Creamline Cool Smashers go up against the Signal HD Spikers as Prado commits a service
for the
error,
Foxies.
bringing the ball to the side of Farm Fresh.
Louis Romero. team
And Louis
captain,
Romero now
serving.
serving. Same target there in Prado. Underhand set to Bedonia.
Good save.
And Viray
Right, corner pocket.
going through the block of
11-16.
PLDT in that sequence.
Yeah, it was made possible by the save of Jack Janela. But yeah, Louis Romero has been really is setting really well here.
Romero.
Romero with a serve.
Oh, wow.
Bedonia with a
wow.
If Viray can do it, Bedonia can as well as she gets that point back for the high-speed hitters.
You know what's impressive really with Bedonia? Not the tallest, but come on, look at the sharpness,
Reyes.
the depth of that
Serving
hit.
for the high-speed hitters.
Miga Reyes, let's see who she targets here in her serve. That sails outside.
Yeah.
Ball is out. +1.
Both
for Farm
teams
Fresh.
lapsing into a bit of service errors here and there. But PLDT, at this point, they can afford it a bit.
Farm Fresh.
Jelena
5
inserted
out.
back in the
8.
match by Coach
De La
Lodi,
Cruz
replacing
in.
Bertolano.
Okay, back to the original 6 for Coach
AJ
Lodi.
Viray,
2
serving.
points now for Viray.
Oh.
Service out.
And both teams still getting a feel off the court. We talked about it in our pregame. This is their debut here in the PVL On Tour preseason tournament.
Yeah, but that's not going to help the Foxies' cause there because they are chasing, but KKD gives it right back.
For Farm Fresh.
Back to back to back service errors.
We have yet to see Farm Fresh go on the run, Noreen. They have to, they have to cut
Noreen
down on this lead,
Terrain.
18 to 14. This
Serving
is
for Farm Fresh.
so far been their ceiling in terms of keeping close with PLDT. Alcantara, this will be a free ball for Farm Fresh. Oh, mishandled. Angge, back set to Majoy. And that short run
corner
goes
pocket.
in for PLDT.
19
Yeah, I'm
to
sure
14.
the middles are really prepared. You know, we heard the game plan of Coach Rao. They want to run the middles more than usual. So Baron
be
and
done.
Reyes will be the recipient of a lot of sets here.
Serving
At least
for
that's what we're
PLDT.
going to expect.
Speaking of PLDT middles, Del Palomata doing her Alas Pilipinas duties as we speak. Their game against Australia as Cruz converting on that regalo, but
There's
she will be
a
called for a net
net
touch.
Called on
Farm Fresh
Cruz.
quick to call for a
And
challenge, but
challenge from Farm Fresh.
That was
Coach Lodi
Yeah.
canceling, taking it back right away. Oh, no, I think we're going to push through.
Kasi nagpindot kayo ng base. So, papasok at papasok yun. Oo, pinindot nyo, automatic na yun.
First referee Fernando Velarde clarifying that even if they wanted to take the challenge back, they already pressed the button, Noreen, which is why the buzzer button, the buzzer light
Challenge is
in
net
his
call for Farm
side of the
Fresh.
court turned on.
Yeah. Oh, it's clear. Yeah, there was a net violation. Good call by the referees. But yeah, I think when we say there's no room
challenge
for
is
errors, even for the
unsuccessful
coaching
for the
staff,
Foxes.
Yes.
each team, when you press the buzzer, you're forced to good.
Yes, that's right.
That's a good smile from Coach Lodi.
6-point lead now for PLDT as De La Cruz. Tubu, cross court, checked at the net. Romero goes to Julina. And that
De La Cruz
is a kill
turned
block
back
for
by
PLDT.
Alcantara.
Yeah, PLDT, the reason why they
21
have
to
this
14.
7-point advantage, a lot also to do with their defense, their net defense working very well in this first set at least.
Service, Bedonia.
Bedonia leads all scorers with 4 so far in the match. Serving for PLDT. Louis goes to Cruz. Alcantara, Prado down the line and good.
Prado down the line.
All systems go for PLDT
22,
here in the
14.
first set. They did, they were challenged a bit after that early timeout when it was 5-0 for PLDT, but right now, it's a pretty
Substitution,
comfortable
PLDT.
8-point lead.
11 out.
Coach Rald
9.
opting to go for a double
In.
substitution. CAF checking in with Jesse De
16
Leon,
out.
replacing Alcantara and Kiana D. Assuming to until the
18.
set wraps up,
De Leon.
they hold a comfortable 8-point lead.
Well, they're happy. I mean, the fans of PLDT that Kim Fajardo is healthy and is playing in this
Tubu.
first game.
Tubu nails
What
it
a
in.
cross-court kill there by Trisha Tubu to the delight of the crowd in San Juan City.
We have mentioned in the pregame that
Substitution.
Tubu is already the recipient of
Fresh.
2 best
7 out.
opposite
1.
hitter awards.
Seeing her first
In.
action here in the PVL, Alohi and checks in the game,
Alohi
replacing
Hardy,
Romero.
designated
Take
game
over the
captain
setting duties for the Foxies.
Trisha Tubu.
It
serving.
is interesting to see how she will play with the team. Not very long, we heard.
First set goes to De La Cruz.
De La Cruz
First set
wipes it
gets a
off the
kill
block.
point right away for Farm Fresh.
16 to 22.
We don't often get to see all setters in our country, and it's such a joy to see
Service.
Robbins Hardy, low, quick shoot set.
Tubu with a good serve. Fajardo to Boron.
Long
We've seen
right
that
in the hole.
countless times,
22.
dating back to their days in the university.
23.
Yeah, after their uni days, they have been teammates
Substitution.
for
PLDT.
majority of their
10
pro
out,
careers.
15. Legacion. In.
Now Legacion is checking in the game to serve for Majoy Boron. Ange Legacion, a setter,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, for
Legacion
PLDT.
Serving for the high speed hitters.
2 points away from taking set number 1. Short serve to Jack. Robbins goes back to Jelena.
The
And I
hit
think
out,
they've
De La
been
Cruz.
working on their connection.
17
Narine,
to
2 straight
23.
points there from Jelena De La Cruz.
This conference, I'm sure we're going to see a lot of players making a name
Jelena
for
De La
themselves,
Cruz.
introducing
Serving for
themselves,
the
and
Foxies.
it's good to see. Like Legacion is in at the same time with Fajardo, then you see Robbins Hardy. I mean, a lot of players are going to get playing time.
Prado cross court off the hands of Cruz, and that is good
Through the block.
for PLDT. That puts them at set point.
PLDT
Yeah.
now at set point
And
advantage.
Jovi Prado, through the years, has been showing us how easy volleyball may seem. Of course, we know it's not, but the way
Jovi
she plays,
Prado.
very, very simple.
Quick change
Jesse
there
De
at the
Leon
service line.
serving.
Jesse De Leon straight to the net.
3 point for the Foxes.
She didn't have a lot of time, so she had to hurry up on that.
And that this gives Farm Fresh another chance to go on a
Lisa
run.
Cruz.
One last chance to go on a run
Farm Fresh.
here in set number 1.
Bit of comic relief on the side of PLDT. Oh!
That ends the set. for
But that
PLDT.
service error
25-18.
ends those chances. PLDT starting off strong, taking set number 1 as we watch the point of the set brought to us by Myra, the Vita Brighter with Myra's vitamin-powered whitening lotion. PLDT takes set number 1. We'll be back for more volleyball action. PLDT takes the opening set 25-18 against Farm Fresh. Noreen, we've seen both of these teams play right now, and we'll watch the set 1 highlights on your screens. What went right for PLDT to establish that starting lead in the set?
Well, we did mention Kat Arado. I mean, she's been solid through the years. She's been playing with PLDT, and it's still the same today. She provided very sound floor defense, and everything just followed suit. They followed the game plan, go to the middles, but Jovi Prado was playing well as well. So really, I think they stuck to their game plans. Look at some numbers first. In terms of attack, they were ahead by 3. We mentioned the blocking, their net defense working. But what about the errors? The errors of Farm Fresh 11, but a lot of those from the service line.
That's
Remember, we were talking about that. That's a strict no-no. If you're actually chasing your opponent and, you have 11 errors compared to 8 for your opponent. So they couldn't establish any kind of rhythm in set number 1. You need to change that. You need to correct that coming to set number 2. First and foremost, get your serves in.
That's right. So let's see if they can adjust here in set number 2. Leading scorers for both teams, Jovelyn Prado with 4 already together with Bedonia. Meanwhile, for Farm Fresh, it's De La Cruz and Tubu with 3 points apiece. Again, you're watching us live here in San Juan City for day 5 of our PVL On Tour preseason tournament.
Well, I think also for Farm Fresh, you want to improve on your first pass because we haven't mentioned Toring or Cruz, getting any good set. So you want to change that as well.
So Louis will be starting off the set, serving for Farm Fresh, meaning they have a full front line here. See if they can get things going this time and start stronger here in the match. Romero with the serve. Reyes sends it to the other side. Viray with another push. Prado tries again to challenge the blockers.
Good cover.
Tubu cross court. Good defense, another long rally here.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Jelena with a good save, leading up to that Viray attack. De La Cruz with a good defensive stop. Tubu with a push. Let's see if this one is not enough. The room is not enough there for Farm Fresh. PLDT takes the first point.
Yeah, Trisha Tubu found herself directly beneath that ball, tried to push it, but again, Jovi Prado has been on point today. A one-on-one. A lot of success of these blockers is about reading your opponents. That's a perfect timing from Jovi Prado.
That's right. And PLDT known to have great net defense here. Mika Reyes, Majoy Baroa, and Del. Now we have Prado establishing her presence at the net as Bedonia joins the block party for PLDT.
Nice one, Miguel on cue. Great net defense. But what about that? I mean, it's defense. Capital D. Net and floor defense for PLDT.
Another kill block there, rather. I would like to check myself. It was Mika Reyes who was credited for that block. Romero with a set to Tubu. Good push. Arado quick again to the ball as Bedonia ends the rally. Over that cross-court kill.
The biggest difference so far in this match for me is PLDT, because they know they have sound defense. Their confidence in terms of offense, in terms of execution, you can see it. They're just making it look really easy.
Romero, Tubu is checked at the net. Tall blockers on that side. Viray tries to go over the block.
Good save.
Louis to Tubu again, who pushes it. What a great save by Arado. And Bedonia scoring once again. PLDT off to a hot start. Sam Corrales has a report for us.
Well, Louis Romero told me earlier that she is still getting used to the new system under Coach Lodi. Now, the team captain of the Farm Fresh Foxies told me that she's actually adjusting her setting style. Now, Louis also said that their new head coach is very detailed, even sending each of them videos on how to improve. But now with new players in the mix like Alohi Robbins-Hardy, Louis said she's very relieved at may kapalitan na siya sa loob ng court for setting duties, as we saw at the end of set 1. Now, she has been learning a lot actually from Alohi, so let's see if Louis and the rest of the team can show it today. Let's check in to this timeout.
away from you, okay? Never away, always up and straight. Okay, Jolene, I need to understand what the heck you're doing on the court. Why you suddenly wake up on a ball that's 100% yours, okay? If I try to understand where the ball is gonna go, I read the contact, whether it's their last contact or our contact. It will tell me where the ball is gonna go, okay? I want that ball. I want it for me, okay? So with that mentality, we're always ready.
5-0 lead now for PLDT. Noreen, Coach Lodi trying to wake up his troops in that timeout.
Can I just say, the truth really hurts. I mean, yeah, I mean, he was just telling, obviously, Jolina, that you didn't have to know what you're doing. But more important is you have to want the ball so that you're always ready. You know, you always have to be on your toes.
That's right, and a good response here from Farm Fresh as Viray opens up their scoring here in set number 2.
Good response, yeah, from the timeout. Much needed.
And you see that everyone's eyes are on Coach. So they really trust his instructions as Jolina is checked at the net. Jows at the net, ball is still alive. Quicker feet there by the Farm Fresh Foxies. Bedonia finds a way to score over Tubo and Turing.
Farm Fresh needs to try to establish their blocking. You know, you have out there in the ring, you have Tubu there. You have to communicate. It's very important. You have to communicate at the net. You know, if you have to count. But I mean, this can't go on.
Another service error there. Here for PLDT, Pierre Abellana about to check in the match. Replacing Turing.
Well, hoping for tougher serves, you know, to give problems to the execution of PLDT.
Serving for the Foxes.
Let's see if she can provide that spark needed by Farm Fresh.
That's a great serve.
Good sharp serve there as Bedonia rolls it over.
Off-speed shot, Bedonia.
Finds a hole in the Farm Fresh defense.
Just playing it smart. Look at that. You know, that's when, if you really are able to read your opponent's defense, look at that. It doesn't have to be strong. Off speed, top spin to the center.
Good reception here by De La Cruz. Romero, back set to Tubu, dumps it in the middle.
And a sharp push.
Well, finally, I mean, Trisha Tubu really needs to get going here. That's a smart tip because she acknowledged the fact that PLDT's blocking has been on points. There are other ways to score. You just have to be creative, but that's not the way.
Ball is out.
Ball sails outside here.
Timeout.
And
PLDT.
we head into our first technical timeout. PLDT with a 5-point advantage.
Player highlights, we got you covered. Subscribe now to the PVL YouTube channel. Subscribe!
Fresh from their ABC stint, Noreen, let's take a look at how they fared in the PVL, talking about the PLDT High Speed Hitters.
Well, 4th place in the Reinforced Conference, and in the All-Filipino Conference early on, they got 5th place. So they want to improve on that. And so far, at least if we base it on today's game, they're looking really good.
Yes, that's right. And we have to remember most of their players rather are coming back from long rest from injury, so it's good to see them back on the court. Can't wait to see them in 100%.
Yeah.
Jovelyn Prado sends it straight to the hands of Risa Cruz. Thank you for that regalo.
Well, that's the second easy over that was intercepted by the net defense. Early on, it was a net violation called on Jolina De La Cruz, but this time Cruz makes no mistake.
Jolina de la Cruz.
Jolina at the service line for Farm Fresh. 3 points now for Jolina.
Ball is out.
That sails
+1
outside.
for PLDT.
Well, they really have to focus on getting their serves in. Too many service errors. Even here, we mentioned that, you know,
Serving
before
for the
we
high
started
speed
the second
hitters.
set, they need to correct the service errors.
Good reception from Dionela leads to that great attack from Riza Cruz.
Well, that observation was correct. It was a good pass that led to this slide of Cruz.
Now that Toring rotates back in front, she replaces Abeliana back in the match as Michael Arosa seeing action for the first time. Serve for Farm Fresh.
Well, one of the serve
Michael
specialists
Rosa,
of Farm
serving
Fresh,
for
of
Farm
course,
Fresh.
Eliza Bertolano is the other one. Good serve.
Doing it right there. 1-2 play. Good read from Micah. Toring pushes it to the other side. Angge to Prado, who's been unstoppable for PLDT.
Prado.
That's how you counter. You know, Prado saw that it was Toring in front of her. She made a really quick follow through.
Take a look at the spike of the set. Brought to you by Dunkin. Pasalubong ng Bayan. Prado already with 6 points now in the match. Alcantara at the service line.
PLDT.
That's a good serve.
It was.
Romero goes to Viray down the line and good for Viray.
Yeah. That should boost their confidence. You know, Farm Fresh, you're down by 4. 4 is manageable, but you have to come up with a string of points here.
That's right.
Louis Romero serving.
There's a good serve there from Louis. Prado off the hands of Tubu. Tries her luck this time. Ball is still alive.
Oh, good save.
Prado keeping it up. And
Oh.
nobody getting the second ball for Farm Fresh.
Ball is in.
There will be a challenge. Called by Coach Lodi. Ball in, ball out.
I think it's the antenna.
Oh, there. Now they're
There's
changing the
a
challenge to
challenge
an antenna
On the
touch.
floor by Farm Fresh.
Okay, Miguel, from where we're sitting, it looked like a good ball. Jovi Prado was able to get it
Antenna touch.
within
Farm
the
Fresh.
antenna. But that's what we're saying. Unless the referee blows a whistle, you cannot stop play.
That's right.
Right? I mean, that's what Farm Fresh did. They froze because thinking that it was a violation. But let's say it's not a violation. That's a point for PLDT.
Yes, that's right. Now, and we also have to mention, Noreen, that they have to play on without the whistle.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
But even during mid-rally, coaches can call for a challenge, and while the ball is not yet dead, it can go on. I mentioned this earlier. Look at the result of this challenge.
Yeah.
There will be no antenna touch. Now, if you look at the first referee, there are 2 light bulbs on his stand.
Yeah.
Now, even if the play isn't stopped yet, once the coaches call for a challenge, it will light up, signifying which part of the play they will go back to.
Okay.
So that's another good way of, letting the players play and, not breaking any momentum. So as we see here, Louis Romero going to Tubu, who's checked at the net again
Well read by Reyes.
by Mika Reyes.
How many times have we seen this duo at the net, Kiana D and Mika Reyes? And look at that. How well established was that block?
That's right. And now Coach Lodi is forced to call a timeout. PLDT up twice. 12-6.
These are all learning opportunities. So, for example, if we are in system, this might be an okay ball. But now we are kind of exclamation situation. Exclamation, why do I want to be 2 meters inside to have the ball from here? It would be way easier to be wider, okay? So it's not all the same. If we are in system, we can go inside. If I'm on exclamation, I want to be wider, yeah? And I don't have to hit hard every single ball. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right.
Coach Lodi forced to call timeout there, but then after that, we just want to, take a look also at how Farm Fresh fared here in the PVL.
Well, you see the big leap from 8th place in the Reinforced Conference to 4th, then back to a lower rank Obviously, for each team, it is a journey. You want constant improvement, and
down
Farm
the
Fresh
line.
looking for that. That's why they changed their
7,
coaching staff
12.
or their head coach,
Yeah.
for that matter.
It's the consistency that we're looking for. Let's take a look at this great attack from Viray.
Serving for Farm Fresh.
Yeah, and we heard Coach Lodi actually telling Trisha Tubu, you don't always have to hit it hard.
Yeah.
Goes to show, a point is a point.
Very specific to mentioning even the amount of meters that they have to adjust during the timeout as Jolina De La Cruz tries to go for that attack. Mika Reyes had to adjust. Louis goes to ring. Arado underhand set to Bedonia. Tubu tries cross court now. Prado was there.
Good D.
Long rally here. Bedonia with a push. Too much for Dionela.
Yeah. PLDT's just doing a great job in creating variety in their shots. It's not they're the ones doing that. It's a point is a point. It doesn't have to be strong all the time.
Talk about the defense of
Yeah.
Jovelyn Prado.
Yeah.
At the net, when she's behind the court, takes a second libero here for PLDT. Viray with a good reception, goes to De La Cruz, down the line and good.
Down the line.
Well, finally, that's we heard that term from Coach Lodi, exclamation. That was an exclamation point for Jolina De La Cruz, and you want to see more of that from her.
And if you look at Louis' sets, does it seem
Serving for
faster,
Farm Fresh.
Noreen?
I think they want it fast. You want it fast because the blocking is really there for PLDT. You need quicker plays.
So let's see how her pace works out for the Farm Fresh Foxies as that push by De La Cruz doesn't go in. Bedonia cross court this time.
14.
Well, you mentioned pace. What about that hit by Bedonia?
Look at that. Cross court challenging the blockers of Farm Fresh. She's leading. She's the first scorer in double digits now in this match. Kiana D.
Yeah.
Good serve.
Yep.
Louis goes to Cruz, unable to make this ball cross over. Point goes to PLDT.
Well, Cruz asking for a challenge. I don't think Coach Lodi is going to challenge that.
D.
D continues her run at the service line. It's a good serve.
Oh.
This will be a free ball. Angge will choose. Baron. Ball is still alive.
Oh,
Tubu.
too near the net.
Adjusts. Cruz pushes. Again. And this time, it will be a 1-2 play that's well read by the Farm Fresh defense.
Oh.
That didn't cross.
Rolls over the net and back to the side of PLDT, giving Farm Fresh the point.
Well, that could be a start for some sort of
Farm Fresh,
rally
7
here for
out,
Farm
1.
Fresh. Long rally
Harding,
going in their favor.
Another substitution here by Coach Lodi. Alohi Robbins Hardy seeing action for the first time in the second set.
Serving for the Foxies.
Obviously a tall setter. Oh.
Second technical timeout.
I was going to say,
16.
obviously a tall setter, you want some blocks
9.
from her.
That's
Farm
right, but
Fresh.
then now PLDT leads by 7, 16-9 as we head into the second technical timeout.
Na-miss niyo ba yung game namin? Kung na-miss niyo, subscribe na to our YouTube channel. Subscribe na!
There. After the second technical timeout, it's 16-9 in favor of PLDT. Now, Alohi Robbins was inserted back in the match by Coach Lodi Noreen. And now let's see if this will raise the efficiency of Julina. Because earlier in the first set, 2 attacks, 2 kills from De La Cruz when she was set by Alohi.
Well, we have to say, I mean,
slide from
Alohi
Cruz.
has experience playing in other countries. She was the MVP in Czech Republic, if I'm not mistaken, as she played for Coach Lodi. So these are interesting stories to hear about.
Quickly connects with Riza Cruz in that sequence as De La Cruz heads to the service line now for Farm Fresh. Good reception by Arado. Angge to Prado, checked at the net. Alohi 1-2 play, good read by Arado. Challenging the block was Prado. Pushed to the back.
Baron.
Talk about IQ coming from Majoy Baron.
Yeah, just so smart, just seeing that Zone 1 had nobody manning that area. But, you know, you can see the presence of Alohi. A couple of stops at the net. You know, she just needs to get a stuff
That's right.
block there. But, yeah, good challenge there.
For PLDT.
Bertolano now in the match for Farm Fresh. Alohi goes to Viray, checked at the net. Alohi back set to Cruz.
Whoa.
2 for 2.
Cruz
Quickly
down the
apologizes to
line.
Majoy.
You were asking for that connection with these players. Nina Itang and Haboneta there from
The UP
UP. Yeah,
women's volleyball team
yeah.
enjoying our
Riza
volleyball
Cruz.
action here in
Serving
San
for
Juan
the
City.
Foxies.
Riza Cruz serving.
Oh,
And she scores.
Riza finding her rhythm here in set number 2, Noreen.
yeah. I mean, again, you talked about the efficiency. Maybe that connection gave her more confidence. That's a better serve and an ace at that.
Lead us down to 5 here in set number 2. Alcantara, D will push this to the other side. Alohi to Viray. Ball is still up. Mika. And
Reyes
that
through
goes
the block.
in for Mika Reyes.
Whatever works.
18,
She'll
12.
score the point. Again, doesn't have to be a strong hit. She just tips it pretty much off the blockers. Look at that, and she gets the point.
Angge
4
Alcantara
points now for
serving.
Mika. 4 points also for Majoy Baron as Alohi chases this one. Viray had to adjust. Angge checks her blockers. Goes to Prado with a push. Turing to Viray. Free ball PLDT. Mika checked at the net. Alcantara runs the same play.
Oh, good
same
save.
result. Viray cross. Arado reading her like a book in that sequence. And
D
Kiana D
from the
ends
right.
the long rally for PLDT.
19, serving 12.
Boy, everything just looked really good in that rally. Good defense. Alcantara, I mean, just distributing the ball.
You know, this PLDT team will tire you out with their defense.
Yeah, yeah. I see that.
Good up by Janela. Tubu from the back. Good reception there by Bedonia. And that
No
is
entry,
tough.
says the Foxies.
Flex on him, Alohi. Let's go.
We did say, you know,
Substitution.
Alohi, being a really
One
tall
out,
setter, has
seven.
a block, and look at that.
Yes, sir.
Flex. Flex your muscles.
And after that tough
Romero,
block,
team
Louis
captain.
Romero back in the match for
Serving
Farm
the
Fresh.
Foxies.
Job done.
It's exciting to see her in action here in the PVL. As Prado sends us to the other side. Romero back to Tubu. Sharp cross.
Ooh, over the block. 13.
Well,
rather
confidence
14 to 19.
slowly increasing there for Farm Fresh.
Louis setting up on the other
Service.
side of
Romero.
the service line this time. With a good serve. Good reception also by Bedonia. Viray. And that sails outside. Coach Lodi
There's
quick to call a
on the
challenge.
call by Farm Fresh.
Mika Reyes saying, I didn't touch it.
And she was sure.
Challenge,
Like,
block touch.
Mika was pointing at her
Farm
first
Fresh.
referee, waiting for them to call that point. But let's see. We never know with our challenge system here. Sometimes action happens so fast.
Yeah. But this is going to be huge because you can sense really Farm Fresh making a run here.
And they seem more comfortable as well, moving inside.
Yeah.
You know. Let's see if they can sustain this to finish this set strong. If you look at the result of that challenge.
Yeah, no touch. No touch there, pretty clear.
But
There is no
good
block
call there.
touch.
Mika was really
Challenge is unsuccessful for the Foxies.
I was gonna say wasted opportunity because you
Jovi.
again they were on the up and up, and then
Yeah.
you commit that hitting error.
Serve.
That's right. Prado now with the serve, targeting Bertolano. Romero goes to Tubu again. Cat with a good dig straight
Turing
to
at the
Turing for
net.
the regalo.
Oh, finally,
15 to 20.
Turing gets a point for Farm Fresh. They have to be, always have to be prepared for these overpasses.
5 out. 8. De La Cruz.
De La Cruz checks back in for Bertolano. Deray at the service line for Farm Fresh.
Caitlin
Meanwhile, for
Duran.
PLDT, it's the same
Serving for the Foxies.
starting 6 they had in the match. Arado. Angge to Mika.
Reyes. 21. to
Perfect
15.
pass results to perfect execution for
Substitution.
PLDT.
PLDT. 3 out.
Legacion
15.
back in the match to
Legacion
serve
in.
for Mika Reyes. Now it's 5 points in the match, 4 points, all coming here in the second set, talking about Reyes.
Angelica Legacion.
Again, it was part of the
Serving
game
for the
plan.
high-speed hitters.
Legacion with the serve, targeting De La Cruz. Romero, back set to Tubu. Hangs in the air, ball is still up, and that
Tubu
able to
down
be
the line.
sent over by Bedonia.
16 to
Yeah,
21.
good effort though on the side of PLDT.
Coach Rald looking comfortable there on the sidelines with his
Ring
group
Toring.
up 1 set and 5
Serving for
points here in set
Farm
number
Fresh.
2. Toring serving.
He should be happy with the way his girls are actually playing here. Whoops! Oh, good save.
De La Cruz goes to Romero. Nice set to Tubu.
Tubu
Wastes no
over the
time.
block.
Getting
17 to
comfortable with
21.
that hit. Trisha Tubu really just looking for the holes there. Look at that.
But there will be a timeout now.
And now,
Coach
high-speed
Rald forced to
hitters
call
score.
time. High speed hitters lead
21,
down to 4. Let's
PLDT
tune
17.
in to their
Farm
huddle.
Fresh.
May tubo eh. Pagbalikan, same pattern pinapalaki ang panahon. Depende sa nyo na muna yun. Pero nga kung sinat ng dikit na dikit, wala pa rin tayo. Naiiwan lang talaga. Ako? Pang server to una yung serve
Okay. Isa ulit. Reality.
Coach Shaq and Coach Yanni waiting on the sides as signal. Is going to try and extend their win streak against this squad. The Creamline Cool Smashers, Mafe, Riza, and Bea watching intently. As you
Serving
have
for
Toring
Farm Fresh, number 18, Lorene Toring.
serving for Farm Fresh. Sails outside, however.
That goes out.
Not how you
PLDT
want to
gets a
start.
free point.
Now coming off a timeout, your opponent for Farm Fresh, you just want to
PKD.
challenge the first pass. You have to get the
Serving for
serves
the
in, but
high-speed hitters.
that's a great timeout then by Coach Rald.
Kiana targeting Julina again. Tubu cross court. Good dig. Kiana D-ball pushes it to the other side. Cruz puts it up. Tubu swings and gets the
Tubu
point
off
for
the
Farm
block.
Fresh.
18 to 22.
Someone's in her groove right now. Trisha Tubu playing better here in set number 2. We did mention her early on in the pregame, and she really has to step up for Farm Fresh in a better
3
way.
points for PLDT.
3 service errors now in our unofficial tally, but she still leads all Farm Fresh scorers with 8.
Disha Bedonia
These service
serving.
errors really will haunt Farm Fresh after this match.
Romero adjusts. De La
De La
Cruz makes something out of
finds
that
the
one.
corner. 19.
But we know that of
23.
Farm Fresh. We know that their capacity to attack, to get the points, it's the flow. You want to see a smoother flow
Jolina De La
in the way
Cruz
they're playing.
Serving for the Foxies.
Jolina with 4 points on 4 attacks. See if she can add on an ace. Not this time.
That puts PLDT at set point advantage.
Just like that, Noreen, PLDT now at set point.
Substitution, PLDT.
Well, that's the impact of service errors.
15 out, 3.
For anything else, Nico Reyes checks back in the
10 out,
match.
2. Kiseo
And also,
in.
Kiseo will be serving for PLDT.
Yeah, we did say we're
Sheila
expecting
Kiseo serving for the set.
all these players actually to get playing time.
Romero back set to Cruz, looks to extend the set, and they do.
Cruz says not
That's
yet.
what they call an efficient snap
20
of
to
the wrist
24.
there.
He's been active here in set number 2.
Yeah.
Teresa Cruz already with 6 points. Noreen.
Once she gets the sets, you know, I mean, again, if the passing is there, she'll get more sets. We know that she can score the points.
And her 6 points here in the set.
Oh,
Make that 7
Seven
points
ace.
here in the set. 8 total in the match.
21 to 24.
From 5 attacks and 2 aces this time.
That's a perfect serve. Look at the way it dropped. Catanado was there, but it was just, the drop was too sharp.
She's playing with so much confidence right now. Lead is down to 3. Targeting Arado again. Nika Reyes, meanwhile, ends
the set
set quickly for PLDT.
25.
And Farm Fresh
21.
unable to extend the run as we watch the point of the set brought to us by Myra. The Vitabrighter with Myra vitamin-powered whitening lotion. We'll be back for more volleyball action. PLDT now leads 2-0 against Farm Fresh. Welcome back to the PVL. PLDT leading 2-0, 25-18, 25-21. Noreen, it's been one-sided so far here in this match.
Yeah, but we have to acknowledge the fact that it's a better showing for Farm Fresh. You know, we saw some flashes of brilliance towards the end when their confidence was obviously in place. So I think it's very important for Farm Fresh to start on a positive note, like this third set. Start believing your coach and believing that you can do better, you can actually win. Let's look at some numbers. Look at that. In terms of attacks, they're actually ahead by 2. The defense, again, is just a constant for PLDT. But PLDT, come on, just 2 errors in that second set. That's a big difference for PLDT. It was a closer set because of the attacks, but again, Farm Fresh, it's better than 11. In terms of errors, they have improved on that, but they can improve further. Again, I think it's a psyche coming into the third set is how they start.
Yeah.
They don't want to be chasing the entire time.
And Noreen, I wanted to go on off of your point there that, it's their psyche.
Yeah.
Now, Coach Lodi rather, was telling me prior to this match that they wanted to be process-oriented. They're not looking at winning right now, but they're looking at the long-term program. This is only their first game. So like what we said, flashes of brilliance as we see the leading scorers from this match. Bedonia already with 10 and Riza Cruz with 8 leading Farm Fresh. So it's exciting to see what they have in store. Those short bursts that they had.
Yeah.
Imagine if they can sustain that for an entire set, Noreen.
Yeah. I mean, again, it is the first game, like you said, for Coach Lodi and the rest of Farm Fresh. So it's going to be a learning process throughout this conference and for the rest of the year. So first game, could be better, but again, it's a process. That they have to go through that. But they look good.
That's right.
Not great, but the greatness will come in time.
Ito na natin kung ma-extend ba to ng Farm Fresh o tatapusin na ng PLDT dito sa set number 3. Salamat po sa pagnanood. Andito tayo sa San Juan City para manood ng PVL On Tour, the preseason tournament of the Premier Volleyball League. Set 3, Jovel Prado will start things off for us with his serve. And that is an ace.
Oh, she's doing it in all parts of the court, in floor defense, all skills level. Now she gets an ace. Jovi Prado, what a performance so far in this match.
2 blocks, 1 ace, 5 attacks, and 8 points now for Jovi. Tubu with the push. Ball is still alive. Prado sets it over to Bedonia. And that is a block by Farm Fresh.
Yeah, you want to see more of that. We do see the improvement from the first set to the second set. So you're hoping for Farm Fresh and the fans. It's another set of skills, and that blocking could be that.
Misreception there from Arado. We barely see that. Viray, Romero, De La Cruz, cross court. Binawi ni Arado. Good dig. Bedonia. Cross court, Romero back set to Tubu. Prado has been everywhere for PLDT. And that, unfortunately, cannot be kept up by Farm Fresh. PLDT with a point.
Well, obviously, Farm Fresh increased the power of their attacks, but for PLDT, it's like challenge accepted. And they've been digging well. They're just so prepared for these strong attacks from Farm Fresh.
Mika Reyes with the serve, targeting Viray. Romero has to chase. Tubu challenging the block and off the hands of Baron in that sequence.
Okay, it should be Tubu's time. If Tubu is on a roll, good things happen to Farm Fresh.
Turing now serving. Game is tied at 2.
It's a better start for Farm Fresh. Remember, it was 4-0 in the first set and in the second set.
That's right. Romero with a good dig. Turing underhand set to De La Cruz. Cross. Good up by Arado. Bedonia. That sails outside. Almost clipping Turing on that sequence, but too much for Bedonia.
Yeah, Turing did a good job in dodging that hit by Bedonia, and it did sail wide.
Serving now. 3-2 in favor of the Foxies. Banjoy back set to Bedonia. Off the hands, and this time it's good for Bedonia.
Yeah, now using the blockers as hands, getting a point for PLDT. Of course, if you're PLDT, you want to end this in straight sets. It's a good start. You won the first 2. And you don't want to prolong this. This is a very young squad for Farm Fresh.
That's right. Good serve there by Kiana D. Cruz from the middle. She's been hot for Farm Fresh. 9 points now. And 4-3 is our score. Sam Corrales has a report for us.
The PLDT High Speed Hitters team captain, Kat Arado, told me that she feels happy that the whole team was able to take about a month off from playing volleyball after playing the game for 8 months straight. She said the break and the whole AVC experience allowed them to reflect on their game and level of maturity. They need to let go now of their doubts and frustrations so that they can play their best game. And so far in today's game, being up 2-0, they are definitely showing that their connection has been stronger ever since then. Now, Kat said her goal now is consistency, lalong-lalo na on individual skills. Let's see if the Foxies can continue to catch up in this set. But so far, Miguel and Noreen, what can you say about the way PLDT has been playing so far?
Thank you for that report, Sam. You know, Noreen, for me,
read.
I'll start it off first. I see that PLDT has been very much organized in their defense. You see it with Prado. Of course, we expect this from Arado and Kiana D at the net, Mika Reyes, etc.
Yeah, they're showing us that the changes in their lineup, you know, they did lose Erica Santos, Fiola Ceballos, Rachel Ostero, 2 other teams, but they're showing us that it's okay. It's okay that the changes happened. We'll work with what we have, plus some additions, but we haven't seen the new additions play. But yeah, they're looking good. They're playing well.
Yeah, and you know, a key factor on why they're playing well is none other than Kisha Bedonia, who already has 11 points, leading all scorers in this match for PLDT.
Yeah, in terms of offense, but what about the defense of Prado and Arado?
That's right. Been a team effort here for the high-speed hitters as Romero goes to Tubu. Good up there by Alcantara. Prado to Cruz. Louis goes to Viray. Let's see if this can end the rally. Drop ball, read well by Caitlin.
Good dig.
Long rally here. Prado down the line. Check. Arado with a good cover. And she will set this one up to Joby again. Pushes it.
Oh, good save.
Good read. Viray has been spectacular in this defensive sequence. Mika had to adjust. Jolina was there. Caitlin. Check.
Oh.
Free ball. High-speed hitters. Alcantara. Mika. Highway kill.
Yes, slides to the right.
I like that. Highway kill. Mika Reyes just prepared all the time, and she has been the recipient of a couple of good sets from Alcantara.
Express. That was so quick.
Yeah.
Alcantara running that play perfectly. That's why I called it highway. So if you're particular with your terms, I'm sorry. I'm making up new terms here, but unfortunately, Alcantara
on the play.
misset in that sequence.
Yeah, rare miscue on the side of PLDT. It's not a time also them to get complacent here. Again, this is a team from Farm Fresh that has a new system in place with a new coach. You don't want to be testing them.
Yeah. You see here, Louis also changing where her services are coming from, but Mika Reyes already scoring and getting the side out for PLDT in that sequence.
This has been a polished connection there. Alcantara, Mika Reyes, especially in this match.
Prado with the serve. Janela misreceives that one. Alcantara to Kiana D, who overcooks this one. Point goes to Farm Fresh. And that outside hit brings us to an 8-7 first technical timeout lead by Farm Fresh.
Bitin ba kayo sa games? Watch all the replays on PVL YouTube channel. Subscribe!
Des Clemente de Guzman on your screen. Newest edition of Farm Fresh, yet to see action here for the Foxies. Caitlin Viray serving. They lead 8-7.
Oh.
Ball is out.
And now the game is tied. With Mika serving, Majoy in front with Kiana D, Bedonia, and Alcantara running the show for the high-speed hitters.
But the thing is, this is a very good start from Farm Fresh to actually grab the lead, 8-7. But you want to try to protect this lead, not by committing errors.
PLDT now.
Mika now at the service line. PLDT regaining the lead here in the set.
Reyes.
Good reception by Janela. Romero goes to De La Cruz. Challenging the block of D. Alcantara goes to D this time. Cross court. Too much for Farm Fresh.
Yeah. Another great set there by Alcantara. Great execution, and Kiana D just putting it down.
Mika to serve. Trying to extend the PLDT lead here in set number 3. De La Cruz. Free ball for PLDT. Alcantara, combination at the middle. Louis to Jolina. That's a good dig from Mika. Joy pushes it in the middle. Long rally here again, and Mika unable to handle that one, giving Farm Fresh the point.
Great topspin there by Jolina. You know, she didn't have to jump. Just enough speed. Look at that. Standing spike.
Credit that point to Janela, who kept the ball up with that pancake save, Noreen.
Yeah. Obviously, the liberos working hard for both these teams.
Pierre with a serve. Inserted by Coach Lodi in the match. De La Cruz cross court, too much.
Yeah, good read. It was pretty much a mishit because the follow through wasn't there. That snap of the wrist wasn't there. So Arado had time to actually figure out, is this going out or not?
Yeah, that's right. 9-11 is our score. Kiana D with a short serve. Romero, underhand back set to Tubu. Alcantara to Prado from the back row. Nice set from Louis. Nagawan pa ng paraan yun. Goes back to De La Cruz this time. Checked at the net, and that sails outside of the hands of Alcantara.
Janela also made the right decision because she was very near that ball. Good decision there. Look at that.
Tubu serving. Score is 10-11. Angge to Majoy. And that is good.
12-10.
Well, they're milking the middles. Every chance they get to run them, Majoy, Baron, and Mika Reyes, they do.
And that opens up so much space for Prado and Bedonia and the wingers of PLDT. And D as well. De La Cruz, inagaw doon. Good reception though. Free ball, Farm Fresh. Riza Cruz has been hot. Goes to De La Cruz, however. And there will be a net touch called on PLDT.
Yeah, Alcantara goes into the net. But you can see Louis Romero opting right now for the low quick sets. You know, try to counter the good blocking of PLDT. But so far, so good. It's just a 1-point game.
Jolina De La Cruz.
Jolina serving for Farm Fresh. Arado up. Alcantara goes to Baron. Good read by Dianela. From the back row, and good for Jolina.
Well, you like the reaction time of Jolina De La Cruz. She likes these ad-lib plays.
Take a look at the replay of the spike of the set. Brought to you by Dunkin. Salubong ng bayan. Targeting her ate from Lasal, Kennedy in that sequence. Jolina now serving. Good up. Alcantara to Prado. Checked at the net. Good cover by Arado. Bedonia. Good dig. Viray this time joins the scoring from the Foxies.
Yeah, that's a smart hit by Viray. You see Alcantara or Baron. Take your pick. Of course, you're going to challenge the smaller blocker. That's exactly what she did.
And they're trying to exploit Alcantara in this rotation, regardless if it's De La Cruz or in that sequence, Viray being the shorter blocker.
Yeah.
Romero, see, still goes to Viray, who pushes it to the other side. Alcantara goes to Majoy, and that is outside. Farm Fresh on a run here in set number 3.
Yeah. Just couldn't get that or keep that ball in play.
And speaking of run, Coach Ralph is forced to call time to stop the bleeding. Let's listen in to their huddle.
Pagsamahin mo lang yung gano'n na one-on-one, saka yung harap si Louie na sa chance ball. Yung receive ko si ngayon, tumuli ka na diretso ka. Go, go, go. Pasa mo na, pasa.
Oh guys, sipag pa. Let's go.
Hindi gigil ha, side out lang, kailangan side out. Go, 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 go.
Okay, receive kami. Let's go! PLDT! Isa pa.
2-point lead now. Coach Ralph trying to calm everyone down here in the PLDT side of the court. Let's see if they can bounce back and take this here in set number 3. But the score is just 14-12. Still a long way to go, Noreen.
Yeah, again, better set from Farm Fresh. You have to be happy where you are. The key right now is, again, to try to protect your lead.
It's been a game of runs here in set number 3. De La Cruz still at the service line for Farm Fresh. Alcantara to Majoy. It's been money. Good read by Tubu. Viray will send this one over to the other side. D takes the free ball. Majoy. No go. Viray checked at the net. Yunela, nice set to Viray. Angge with the push. And that finds the line. Majoy Boron perfectly places that push to the other side.
Yeah, Jolina actually was saying that it went out, but I saw Coach Lodi actually in a better vantage point. Said it was good.
Bertolano back in the match, replacing De La Cruz. Good reception. Romero 1-2. D was there. Net by Mika Reyes.
Yeah, the set was too low. Mika Reyes wanted to ram it over.
Now there will be another substitution on the Farm Fresh side of the court. Toring is back in the match, replacing Abeliana. Riza Cruz serving already with 9 points, leading the way for the Farm Fresh Foxies. Good reception. Will this be an ace? Nope. Push to the other side. Ball is still alive. Now,
They go to the middles. It pretty much opens the opportunity for the wing hitters, and that's a perfect example. The blockers were slow to close.
that's right. Now it's a full front line for PLDT. Romero goes to Viray. Had to go over D and Reyes on that one. Free ball, Farm Fresh. Romero signals her play, goes to Toring.
Good save though, but no call there on that set or miss set.
Another chance to run something. She goes to Toring, who pushes it and finds a way to score.
With a drop shot.
Poetic justice there for Farm Fresh.
16. Farm Fresh.
16-14 is our score right now as we head into our second technical timeout.
Player highlights, we got you covered. Subscribe now to the PVL YouTube channel. Subscribe!
Back here in San Juan City, take a look at that replay by the last attack of Toring to put Farm Fresh up 16-14 here in the third set.
And the second.
Louis Romero now serving for Farm Fresh.
Captain Louis Romero serving for Farm Fresh.
Betonia goes to Alcantara and Prado with a good cross. Good read by Janela. Tubu, cross.
Cross-court shot.
And that is
Tubu.
in for Trisha Tubu.
17-14.
Well, Kiana D had to get out of the way because it was sharp. So what a time now for Trisha Tubu to lead Farm Fresh here.
Arado, underhand set to Prado. Louis goes to Viray, who pushes it. Smart decision. Alcantara to Mika. Good read by Dianela. Tubu with a sharp push.
Tubu scores again.
And Coach Lodi jumping for in excitement.
Well, I think he's been waiting all game to get excited, and yeah,
Firing up his bench right now. Talking about Coach Lodi. Substitution, Fajardo in the match now for the high-speed hitters.
I think this is a good substitution for Coach Raul.
Goes to the middle to D, no go. Prado with the push. Off the hands of the blockers. Janela. Let's see if this crosses. Not enough. Roberto Lano.
Good effort though for Farm Fresh.
See there. Fajardo trying to go for a play right away.
Well, in terms of familiarity, Kim Fajardo, you did mention, knows these players so well, so that's not a problem.
One of the smartest setters also to ever play the game here in the Philippines.
Yeah. Well, this is what you want from Farm Fresh. They are maintaining this 4-point advantage.
But now it's time for Coach Lodi to make some adjustments. Jolino de la Cruz back in the match.
Yeah, pretty familiar substitution on the side of Farm Fresh.
Kim, nice set to Bedonia. Romero checked at the net. Mika says this did not go through. De la Cruz cross. Great read by Arado. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice attack by D there off that beautiful set from Kim Fajardo.
That's a classic Archer connection there. Fajardo, Kiana D, and Reyes.
Good job by Baron. Nahatak yung blocker eh.
Oh.
Yung that slight delay na rin. Opening up the runway for Kiana D.
That play was actually nostalgic for a lot of the fans.
Costly error there from Legacion.
Yeah, not a time for that to come.
Reyes in.
Turing will be doing the serving duties for Farm Fresh.
Lorene Torin serving for Farm Fresh.
Well, they have control of this set, Farm Fresh. Let's see if they can get to the finish line.
Kim. That's blocked by De La Cruz at the net.
Fajardo.
Good serve for Toring.
21-16.
There's another substitution here
PLDT
for Coach Raul.
Kiseo.
Kiseo is in the match. To give Jovelyn a breather.
This should be a good back row for PLDT.
3-point then for the high-speed hitters.
I like the reaction of Kat Arado. It's like, is Toring trying to get my head or target my head?
Serving.
Kiana now with 6 points. De La Cruz. And that is a block for PLDT.
Well, Tubu has been successful with those drops, but maybe it's a time right now to go for the tough angles at stronger hits.
And that attack error forces Coach Lodi to call for timeout. Let's listen into their huddle.
Softball, and I am surprised, and I am, and I'm weak, all right? If it's slow, it's slow. I have to read it as it is. And so I just gently go with it, okay? I can go a little tighter because we're never too tight, right? We're never too tight. We're always low and away. So don't worry, the second can jump.
Let's go!
Following this match, we will have the Signal HD Spikers taking on
Farm Fresh holding a 3-point lead here against PLDT. Kim Fajardo running the show for the high-speed hitters. Let's see if they can go on a run. He's been setting the ball well now for PLDT so far in this match. De La Cruz, and that sails outside 3-point for PLDT.
Yeah.
19.
No, I think for me, Farm Fresh, not a time to get cautious. You don't want to be too cautious. Go for your hits. You know, you're playing well up until you get too careful.
That's right. So D here with a good serve. Romero, back set to Tubu, needs to push this. And then finds a way to score for Farm Fresh.
Yeah, continues to play smart for the Foxies.
Farm Fresh.
She's been going to that push
Yeah.
here, especially here in set number 3.
Why not? Because she's reading the defense of PLDT.
Veteran, lucky roll there for Trisha Tubu.
Off the net.
With the help of the net,
and
gets us the service ace. 23-19 now in favor of Farm Fresh.
And that's been her set, Trisha Tubu.
I'm out.
Now
High-speed
it's Coach
hitters.
Rald who's forced to call for time. Let's listen into their huddle.
Isang push siya. Gusto tayo abutan. Simulan muna niyo doon sa receive kay Tubo. Harap si Alohi. Ano free niyo?
Receive mo na.
Go, go, go.
Veteran versus veteran. It's Kim Fajardo going head-to-head against Alohi Robbins Hardy. How long have we been waiting for this matchup to happen once again, Narine?
Yep. Not too long.
Not too long.
No, but you know that huddle, Coach Rald, it goes to show how much respect he has for Kim Fajardo, asking, "What's your play? Ayan pa rin? Okay."
There we go. Taking matters into her own hands.
Classic Kim Fajardo.
23.
Take a look at that replay once again. Perfectly timing that drop. Dinella unable to get to that one.
It was just really brilliantly done for Fajardo. Ooh!
PLDT going on a run right now.
23.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're just so used to Louis Romero chasing after the balls. They have to realize who their setter is. You can't make her work too hard.
No.
Farm Fresh. 21.
Coach Lodi
PLDT.
forced to call time. What does he have to say to the Farm Fresh Foxies? Let's listen in.
Set our feet. Set our feet. And go gently with the ball. Here I'm moving. Okay? The ball is right at you. Fine. Okay. Only platform. Only platform. And then what's going to happen after? She's going to shank it, right? That's what we expect. Everybody's going to get the ball shot at her. That's the expectation. So be ready for that.
Coach Lodi, very specific in terms of the adjustments that his team has to make in his timeout. Something that we're not used to hearing in terms of adjustments, Noreen.
He's very direct.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that's why you get a different coach. You want a different style and accept it. Wow.
He was talking about shank passes.
Yeah. But you have to give credit to that serve by Bedonia. Really a tough serve. Look at that at the middle of Farm Fresh defense.
They cut the lead to 1. Will she tie it? Or will Farm Fresh go to set point? Robbins Hardy with the back set. Read well by PLDT. Jolina cross. Arado was there. Kim. Good adjustment there. Ball is still alive. Free ball PLDT. Calf. Goes to Kiseo. And that is a point for the high-speed hitters.
That is a perfect example of knowing where your ball is. You know, people were still looking at the rally and Kiseo left to celebrate because she knew it hit the antenna. Look at that. Everyone was looking, what's going on?
Game is now tied 23-all here in set number 3. Bedonia will be serving. 14 in the match. For Farm Fresh, it's Tubu with 13. Alohi to De La Cruz. Everyone's asking for a check. Let's see if, yes, there will be a challenge. Now, what a run by the high-speed hitters so far. And just like that, they are at set point, pending the result of this challenge right here. It's an 8-2 run by PLDT to regain the lead. As we look at the result of the challenge, there will be no touch. And that means PLDT is now at match point rather, here in set number 3. Bedonia serving for the match.
What a run here by PLDT. That's the response you get from the girls of Coach Rald.
Good serve from Bedonia. Tubu from the back row. Kim, is this the match? Kiseo is checked.
Not just yet. Not just yet. Farm Fresh, a great block.
Everyone staring at the line right there as Alohi and Cruz teaming up for that block.
Boy, that is a great wall there for the Foxies.
De La Cruz now serving for Farm Fresh. 24 all. Kim to Majoy.
Baron. PLDT at match point.
The connection is still there between Fajardo and Baron. Yeah.
Noreen. It's nice to see Majoy back in action. Calf.
Yeah.
Kiana. Over on the other side, Jolina. Toring. And we're only in our 5th game day here in the PVL. Fajardo. Tumika. Ball is still up. Kiseo this time.
Oh, still alive.
Still alive. Alohi 1-2. Good read by Majoy. Over reception. Good anticipation by PLDT. Kiseo with the push. Long rally here. Nobody giving up.
Good dig.
Fajardo to Kiseo. Third time. Still no goal for Kiseo.
Boy, that is the best rally of the match so far. You know, the excitement is there. You know, Baron was actually there, but it was just too quick for her.
25 all. La Rosa checking in the match to serve. The fans in San Juan City are loving it. Smiles, cheers, claps.
That was really fast, huh? Fast pace.
Serving for Farm Fresh.
Micah targeting Arado. Fajardo to Mika. Checked at the net. Alohi. 1-2 play.
1-2 play.
That's why she's there, you know, to maximize her height at the net to take advantage of that.
Take a look at the replay of Alohi's 1-2 play. That's her first points off an attack here in the PVL. Already 3 with 2 blocks.
And it's their first set point.
We'll see more of that as we go on. And Mika Reyes says not yet. 26 all. Fajardo serving. PLDT with Prado, Reyes, and D in front. Alohi signaling her play.
This is a good matchup between both these front lines.
De La Cruz goes to Alohi to the running Toring. Too much sauce.
Ball is out.
Yeah, didn't get a lot of sets, so
Once more.
yeah, pretty hesitant at that hit.
And at this point, one of the best servers in the league at the line.
Great serve.
Misreception by De La Cruz. Viray checked at the net. And that is a point for PLDT.
Ends the set and the match.
Boy, I mean, these girls in red, we have to commend them because they were challenged by Farm Fresh, but they maintained composure.
Take a look at the point of the set, brought to you by Myra. Be Vita Brighter with Myra's vitamin-powered whitening lotion. The Taft Towers blocking and shutting the door on the Farm Fresh Foxies. The PLDT High Speed Hitters win this in straight sets. We'll be back for more PVL action. PLDT gets their first win in the on-tour preliminaries, getting it in straight sets, 25-18, 25-21, 28-26. Our player of the game is with Sam Corrales. Sam?
Joining me now is our player of the game. We have Keisha Bedonia of the PLDT High Speed Hitters. Unang-una, congratulations sa unang panalo ninyo dito sa PVL on Tour. Ito din ang first ever POG interview mo. So Keisha, pag-usapan natin yung final moments ng game. Nung pinasok ka sa service line, like ano yung mga pumapasok sa isip mo, yung level of maturity mo, yung impact mo sa larong ito, napaka-crucial, Keisha.
Sa akin lang po is, una-una syempre nakaka-pressure kasi yung score namin is dikitan. So, sinet aside ko muna yung pressure and pinakinggan ko sila coaches kung saan yung tina-target namin and yun, sinunod ko lang po.
And of course, ito ang first ever game ninyo dito. Paano nyo pinaghandaan yung debut ninyo against Farm Fresh?
Syempre po, grabe yung pinaghandaan po namin kasi syempre si Ate Savi wala po dito. So, doble-doble po yung training namin sa defense, lalo na po sa offense kasi nasanay po kami na andyan si Ate Savi. So, kami po ni Ate Job, doble-doble po kami nagte-training sa defense and offense. Kasama na po yung mga teammates ko.
And kaya naman your hard work paid off today, Keisha. You definitely shine in today's game. Meron ka bang mga gustong batiin, your family, friends, the fans here in San Juan City? Go ahead.
Hi, binabati ko po yung parents ko sa Bacolod po, yung tita ko, and yung tita ko po nandito po. Hi, Tita Ricky! And thank you po sa mga supporters ng PLDT po. Sana po i-support niyo po kami ulit sa padating ng laro namin sa Isabela po. Thank you!
And there you have it. You just heard from today's player of the game, Keisha Bedonia. Back to you.
Thank you, Sam, and congratulations, Keisha Bedonia and the rest of the high-speed hitters. Noreen, third set, grabe, nail-biting end to the match that we just watched. Take a look at the match highlights on your screen.
Yeah, the third set was a prime example of what we were saying. We saw flashes of brilliance. It's just that Farm Fresh is a very young team with a new system again. We kept reiterating that. But you have to be happy with the way you played the third set. You really gave PLDT a run for your money. But respect really goes to PLDT. They showed their maturity and composure towards the end of that third set. They were down set point, but they came back and won the match. So hats off to the veterans, Mika Reyes, Majoy Baron. You know, Alcantara played well, but what about the entry of Kim Fajardo to stabilize PLDT when they needed it the most? It goes to show really the game plan of Coach Raul. You gotta love it.
That's right. And let's go. Of course, we have to talk about our player of the game. 14 points for number 14, Keisha Bedonia, leading the way for the high-speed hitters. The match statistics are shown right now, Noreen.
Yeah, the biggest number that Farm Fresh wants to correct are the errors. They had 10 more errors than their opponents. So these are the things that you really want to check moving or looking to your next match. So, you know, it's not all that bad. Just take the positives and apply it to the next game.
It's only going to get better from here for both of these matches. And what an exciting match between the PLDT High Speed Hitters and the Farm Fresh Foxies. We're in for a treat for our next game. Two juggernauts are about to go head-to-head. Let's see which of these two teams will remain undefeated. It's the Signal HD Spikers against the Creamline Cool Smashers. Miguel de Guzman together with Noreen Go and Sam Corrales. You're watching the Premier Volleyball League, the heart of volleyball.